I always thought the worst thing my mom could say to me had already been said. Turns out, I was wrong. Because the moment she looked me dead in the eyes and snarled, "Get out of here, you leech. I'm done putting up with you," something inside me cracked, not like a twig, but like a dam splitting under pressure. And when she followed that up with "You were nothing more than a stand-in for Vincent," I swear my soul detached for a second. That was the day I stopped being her daughter and started being disposable. Just like that, let me back up for a second. I wasn't some freeloader hanging around rent-free. I was paying the mortgage. I was buying groceries. I was the one keeping the lights on while my mother wandered around the house talking about how much she missed my younger sister Vincent. As if Vincent were some angel flown too close to the sun. And then one day, Vincent just waltzes back in, broke, panicked, and suddenly interested in playing the doting daughter again. She had the nerve to say, "Mom, we're struggling. Can we move in?" And without blinking, my mom said, "Yes, of course, my precious Vincent." Not "let me think." Not "maybe we should talk to Kane first." Nope. It was instant loyalty to the golden child, so I stood there, stunned, and asked, "Mom, I live here too. You can't just invite them in without asking me." She turned to me with this blank, cold stare and said, "So what?" That was her response. Not even subtle. Not even cruel with finesse. Just blunt. Sharp, and absolutely soul-crushing. And then came the line that will probably echo in my head for the rest of my life: "If you don't like it, Kane, then maybe it's time for you to leave." Vincent, of course, stood behind her with that smirk I've hated since we were kids. She tilted her head, shrugged, and chimed in like a villain from a low-budget soap opera, "Yeah, why don't you just get lost already? You're trash." Her husband laughed. My mom smiled. I don't remember what I said after that. I think I went numb. I just remember grabbing a box and walking back to my room, every step echoing with humiliation. But here's the thing, I wasn't packing because they told me to leave. I was packing because I had finally woken up. Years of being the backup daughter, the built-in caregiver, the human ATM, and for what? This? No. I was done being the doormat. I didn't cry. Not then. Not anymore. I packed like I was erasing my existence from that house. Quiet. Controlled. But inside? Inside I was raging. And they were about to learn exactly what that meant. People love to romanticize sacrifice, like it's some noble badge of honor. But let me tell you something, sacrifice without appreciation is just self-destruction with a pretty bow on it. After my dad passed away, the house got quiet. Not peaceful quiet, hollow quiet. My mom barely ate. She cried in the bathroom. I heard her sobbing through the walls while I laid awake, wondering how the hell I was going to hold us both together. I was only 24 when I decided to stay. I had just graduated, had a decent job offer in another city, and dreams that actually made me feel alive. But no. I told myself I couldn't leave her like that. She needs me, I said. It's just for a while, I said. Famous last words. Years flew by. Years I'll never get back. I paid the mortgage because she couldn't bear to think about bills right now. I bought the groceries, fixed the leaky sink, and cleaned up her messes, literal and emotional. Meanwhile, she acted like I was just a temporary shadow waiting for Vincent to come home and light up her world again. She'd say stuff like, "Vincent always knew how to cheer me up. Not like you." Or "Why couldn't you be more graceful like your sister?" Graceful? Vincent threw tantrums over broken nails and once faked fainting to get out of doing dishes. But sure. Graceful, I was working overtime, eating instant noodles, skipping vacations, just to keep us afloat. And you know what she said when I got promoted at work? "Good. Now maybe you'll be less of a disappointment." I laughed so hard I cried that night, because if I didn't laugh, I was going to scream. And let's talk about the house. Sure, it was technically hers, on paper. But every bill? Mine. That new fridge? Mine. The couch? Mine. But if I even suggested I had a right to an opinion, she'd remind me, this is my house. Oh really? Then maybe next time you want your property taxes paid, you can ask your favorite daughter. Spoiler alert, Vincent never sent a single dime. My mom loved Vincent like she was dipped in gold. She'd show off pictures of her at brunch, brag about her designer handbags, that I'm 99% sure were bought with credit cards she never paid off, and cry about how much she missed her. Meanwhile, I was sitting at the same damn kitchen table, literally paying for her tears. And the worst part? I kept convincing myself that maybe if I worked harder, smiled more, made fewer waves, she'd see me. Just once. Just a little. But no. To her, I was a placeholder. The dull, gray stand-in until Vincent returned to her throne. But here's the thing, I was done being invisible. And if she was gonna treat me like I never mattered, then maybe. It was time to disappear. It happened on a Wednesday. I remember because I had just come home from work, exhausted, with grocery bags digging into my wrists and my phone buzzing nonstop with emails. I opened the door and nearly dropped everything. Vincent was standing in the living room. Full glam, crocodile tears, fake tan streaking down her cheeks like some tragic movie scene. And next to her, clinging like a useless sidekick, was her husband. The human equivalent of expired yogurt. She spun toward Mom dramatically. Mom, we're struggling. We don't know what to do. We can't afford rent. And boom, hook, line, and manipulation. My mom gasped like someone had just told her Vincent had only 5 days to live. Oh no, sweetheart. What happened? She said, already halfway into a hug. I just stood there, frozen, like. What am I watching right now? Vincent sniffled and said, my husband lost his job, and we've fallen behind on bills. Can we just stay here for a little while? Just until we get back on our feet. Let me pause right here. In any normal household, that would be followed by a family discussion, maybe some planning, even the tiniest acknowledgement of the person who actually lives there and pays the bills. But not in this house. Nope. My mom lit up like it was Christmas morning. Of course you can. My precious Vincent, you can stay as long as you need. I blinked. My hands were still full of groceries, by the way. Mom, I said, trying to keep my voice even, you didn't even ask me. You can't just move people in without talking to me first. I live here too. She turned to me like I'd just insulted her favorite soap opera. So what? That was it. That was her whole answer. Seriously? I asked, stunned. There's not even enough space. Where are they going to stay? Mom crossed her arms, fully in her villain arc now. If you don't like it, maybe it's time for you to leave. I swear, I actually laughed. I thought she was joking. I said, you're kicking me out to make space for Vincent? That's when Vincent stepped in, her smirk already curling at the edges. Mom doesn't need to live with some ungrateful brat. You've had your time here. Move on. My jaw dropped. I've been the one paying the bills. She rolled her eyes. And? It's still Mom's house. Oh. Okay. So the math was, Vincent equals Saint, Kane equals walking debit card. Got it. At that moment, I realized something brutal. They didn't care. Not about the sacrifices. Not about the late nights I stayed up fixing things. Not even about the fact that I was the reason they had a roof over their heads. And just like that, my mom repeated it, this time with venom, you hurt her. Get out. That was the end of the conversation. And the beginning of my revenge. I didn't slam any doors. I didn't cry. I didn't scream or beg them to love me. No. I got quiet, the kind of quiet that makes people nervous. The kind of quiet where you know something's coming, but you don't know when. I went to my room, sat on the edge of my bed, and thought, if I'm trash to them, then fine. Let me take every single thing I ever bought and disappear like garbage on pickup day. The next morning, I called a moving company. The guy on the phone asked, "Are you moving out, or?" And I just said, "Clearing out." Completely. He didn't ask questions. Smart man. While my mom and Vincent were busy packing for their little we deserve a break vacation, yes, a freaking vacation, I was doing a full audit of the house. That fridge? I bought it. The washer and dryer? Mine. The living room couch, the blender, the TV, the damn toaster, all me. I even dug through receipts just to double check. And the bank account? I'd been pouring my paycheck into that joint account for years while Mom cried about bills. Vincent hadn't put a single cent into it, but somehow still felt entitled to it. By the time the movers showed up, I had everything boxed, labeled, and ready to go. One of the guys looked around and asked, Are you sure we're taking all of this?" I smiled. Every last bit. And we did. I stood in that hollowed-out house like a ghost reclaiming her bones. The silence felt different now, not sad, just clean. Like I was finally detoxing from a lifetime of emotional rot. I didn't leave a note. I didn't owe them that. I moved into the company housing my job had offered me multiple times before. Back then, I said no because I couldn't leave my mom alone. Yeah. That lie expired the moment she called me a leech. The apartment? Gorgeous. Big windows. Quiet neighbors. My own damn thermostat. I sat on my couch, drinking tea from my mug, with my money in my own account, and for the first time in years, I breathed. Like actually, deeply, fully breathed. It hit me then, I had been surviving for so long I forgot what living felt like. Choosing myself wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was peaceful. And powerful. They wanted me gone? Wish granted. They came back from their little vacation 2 shades tanner and 10 times more smug, probably thinking they were returning to a home filled with all the comforts they didn't pay for. But instead of that cozy welcome, they walked into a house that looked like it had been robbed. I wasn't there to see it, but I imagined Vincent dropping her designer knockoff bag and gasping, "Where the hell is my fridge?" Would have been Oscar-worthy, because yeah. I took the fridge. And the couch. And the washer. And the bed frames. And the TV. I left them with a folding chair and 1 spoon. My phone started blowing up while I was still brushing my teeth that morning. Missed calls. Screaming voicemails. The final one was just my mom yelling, "You thief. You better get back here right now." Like I had stolen her stuff. That night, I went back, because I knew if I didn't, they'd show up at my workplace and cause a scene. I wasn't about to let them sabotage my job just because they were too dumb to read a receipt. I walked into that echoing house, and wow. They were waiting. Mom had her arms crossed like she was auditioning for Judge Judy, and Vincent's face was redder than her overdrawn bank account. "What the hell happened here?" My mom shrieked. Vincent jumped in like some deranged backup singer, "You even took the toaster." "The toaster, Kane." I didn't flinch. I didn't blink. I just said, "I took what I bought. Every single thing." "You can't do that." Vincent barked. "This is Mom's house." "Oh?" I raised an eyebrow. "So tell me, how much did Mom pay for the furniture?" Crickets. "What about the bank account?" I asked, folding my arms. "You know, the one you thought had Dad's insurance money in it? That was my salary. My savings. Bit by bit, over the years. Dad's money? That was gone a long time ago." Vincent looked like she'd swallowed a brick. "That's not true. Last time I checked. There was a lot of money in there." "Yeah," I said, nodding. "Because I was still depositing into it. You thought you hit the jackpot, but you were just looking at my hard work." She turned to our mom, betrayal all over her face. "Mom. Is that true?" My mom froze. Her eyes darted. Guilt written in high definition across her face. I didn't know how to tell you, she mumbled, and that was it. That one little truth cracked their whole fantasy open. Vincent's mouth dropped. Her fists clenched. And me? I just stood there, finally calm. I had spent so many years feeling small in that house. But in that moment, as they stood surrounded by bare walls and uncomfortable truths, I realized something: this wasn't my home anymore. It was just the wreckage I left behind. Vincent wasn't just mad, she was spiraling. Her voice shot up an octave as she screeched, "What do you mean the insurance money is gone?" Like I'd just told her Santa Claus died. Her eyes snapped toward Mom, face flushed, mouth trembling. "You said Dad left a big payout. You said it was still there." Mom looked like a deer caught lying in the headlights. I didn't say it was still there exactly," she mumbled, suddenly fascinated by the floor. Vincent's face? Priceless. You could practically see the smoke coming out of her ears. "Don't play dumb with me, Mom. I came back here thinking we had backup. That there was money left to help us." Mom winced. "Vincent, I didn't want to worry you." "Worry me?" Vincent screeched. "You spent it? You spent all of Dad's insurance money without telling me? What the hell did you even use it on?" Silence. Honestly, I was just standing there enjoying the fireworks. I didn't even have to say a word. Mom was imploding all on her own. I had spent years carrying the emotional weight of this family while they were playing financial hide-and-seek with imaginary money. And now? Now they were finally seeing each other for who they really were. Mom tried to recover. I was trying to keep things normal. Pay the bills, fix the house. Vincent cut her off with a bitter laugh. "You mean throw money at your imaginary version of a perfect life while using Kane like a walking ATM?" She turned to me. And for the first time, she actually looked shaken. "Is this true? There's nothing left?" "Nothing," I said, plain and cold. "Everything you saw in that account was my savings. Every cent of Dad's insurance? Gone. Years ago." Vincent's voice cracked. No, we were counting on that." I tilted my head. "Who's we?" She didn't answer. But she didn't have to, because I already knew. The desperation in her face wasn't about family or safety. It was about debt. They hadn't come back to rebuild bridges. They came to raid the ruins. Vincent and her husband were in deep. Probably owed money to someone with fewer teeth and more threats. Mom sat down hard, like reality finally slapped her. "I just wanted us to be together again." Vincent snapped, "Together? I didn't come back for bonding time, I came back for the damn money." The room went dead quiet. And that's when I knew, it was over. The lies, the favoritism, the delusions. Shattered. And while they were standing there, drowning in their own mess, I was already free. Sometimes revenge isn't fire and fury. Sometimes it's just truth. Served cold, with receipts. So there it was. The big reveal. The curtain finally pulled back. Turns out, Vincent and her husband weren't just struggling with rent, they were in deep. Like knee-deep in debt with interest rates that scream broken kneecaps. They had racked up thousands in gambling losses, maxed out credit cards, took out shady loans, and their last-ditch plan? Come home, play the pity card, and quietly pocket what they assumed was left of Dad's insurance, only. There wasn't any. And when I confirmed that the money was long gone, you could see the exact moment Vincent's last brain cell gave up. Her jaw locked. Her eyes darted between me and Mom like a raccoon caught raiding an empty trash can. "We need help," she finally muttered, voice all shaky and hollow. "Please, Kane. I know we've had our differences, but we're family." I laughed. Out loud. A full, ugly, I finally snapped laugh. "Oh, now we're family?" I said, arms folded. "Last week I was a leech. A parasite. A nuisance. And now you want my help?" Vincent blinked like that word actually hurt. Good. It was about time someone held up a mirror. We didn't mean it, she tried. We were just stressed, I cut her off. No. You meant every word. You wanted me gone. You said I was trash. And now? Now that the bank account is empty, the house gutted, and your rescue fund vanished, you suddenly remember I exist? Mom chimed in too. Soft voice, fake sympathy, we can work this out, sweetheart. We can live together again, just like before. Just like before? The audacity almost knocked me over. You mean like when I paid all the bills and got treated like dirt while you bragged about Vincent's new haircut? I said, deadpan. You had your chance, Mom. You made your choice. Vincent reached out, actually trying to touch my arm. Please. You're doing well. You can help us. We'll make it right. I stepped back. No, Vincent. I am doing well. Because I finally got out from under this toxic circus. You think I'm the parasite? Let's be real, you're the one who only shows up when there's money involved. You don't want help. You want a lifeline so you can sink it again. Vincent's face crumpled. She wasn't used to not getting her way. But I was done. I'm not your safety net. I'm not your backup plan. And I'm definitely not coming back. And with that, I turned around, walked out the door, and didn't look back. Let them chew on their own mess. Let them sit in the silence they used to drown me out. I wasn't their fixer anymore. I was free. It's been a month since I walked out that door, and honestly, I've never felt lighter. No more walking on eggshells, no more guilt-tripping glances over breakfast, no more being told I'm not enough. Just quiet mornings in my own space, hot coffee in my own mug, and peace that doesn't feel like a loan I'll have to repay later. Meanwhile, my mom and Vincent? Yeah. They're exactly where their choices landed them, in a tiny, overpriced apartment with creaky floors and a view of a dumpster. They fight constantly, according to a mutual friend who still talks to both sides. Mom blames Vincent for everything, and Vincent fires back that Mom should have begged me to stay. You can't make this stuff up. They tried calling a few times, voicemails full of fake sweetness layered over desperation. I didn't respond. I've said what I needed to say. The rest? That's on them. I'm focusing on me now. I've started saving for a real home, one that's mine and mine alone. I've signed up for weekend art classes. I go to sleep without crying. I wake up without dread. Being kicked out of that house was supposed to be my downfall. But it turned out to be my liberation. I thought I needed their love to feel whole. I don't. I never did. And if you've listened this far, thank you. Truly. This whole mess taught me that loyalty means nothing if it's not mutual. That sometimes the people who raised you will never see your worth, and that's not your fault. I learned that freedom begins the moment you stop begging for space in someone else's life, so here's my advice: if someone treats you like you're disposable, believe them, and walk away with your head high and your receipts ready. Protect your peace, even if it means being the villain in their story. Let me ask you something: have you ever been the scapegoat in your family? Have you ever been thrown aside to make someone else comfortable? And when you finally stood up for yourself, how did it feel? Tell me in the comments, I'm listening. And if my story resonated with you, hit that follow button so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for sticking with me. I finally found my voice. And I'm never silencing it again.